Ladies and gentlemen. Smoke.
Jokes. I like that shit.
As much as I like being married, I hated being fucking engaged. The reason I hated being engaged is that you'll find when you are engaged, people are more excited that you're gonna get married than you even are. Family members, co-workers, friends, they're gonna ask you a lot of dumb fucking questions. Like, people will come up to you and be like, so, are you ready? Are you gonna slick your hair? Are you gonna get a cake? And you just wanna be like, Nana, you need to shut the fuck up right now, okay? Why do you have so many questions this Sunday dinner? Don't you have to crochet something? Look, I don't know what kind of cake we're gonna get, okay? First of all, it's August, we're getting married in July next year. Why don't you let the engagement breathe a little bit, okay? And do you guys have like a cool aunt, you know, maybe in the 80s or 90s, she taught you how to dance a little bit? You know, maybe some of you recognize her. She's like that aunt, every time you open her car door, it smells of weed and failure. You know this aunt. Some of you might know her as the aunt that at every family function, she drinks the whole box of wine. You know, end of the night, her lips are red. She looks like she's ready to fight Batman. That aunt, she'll come up to you after she's had 4 glasses of Shiraz and be like, hey, listen, I just want you to know, before I met your uncle, I was engaged like 3-4 times. And you want to be like, you know what, Aunt Diane, I don't want to hear about your blackout stories from the mid-'80s right now, okay? I'm planning a fucking wedding. And guys, never have I ever hung up the phone on my mother till the pressures of the wedding and been like, oh, that is why Dad left you, okay? You guys have to understand, my mom is a fiery Latina woman, okay? Getting a phone call from her is like getting a phone call from Tony Montana from the movie Scarface, okay? First of all, you pick up the phone, mouth breathing, very aggressive, and you're like, hello? And she's like, hello. And you're like, hey, Mom, what's up? And she's like, listen, can I ask you some questions about your wedding? And I'm like, yeah, of course. She's like, where are your uncle Fernando and Fabian sitting? And I'm like, where are they sitting? I go, let me check the seating chart. I go get it. And I'm like, oh, they're sitting right next to each other. They're at the same table. I hear silence. The next thing I hear after that is, you're gonna embarrass me like the time you failed grade 10? And I'm like, what the fuck does my education have to do with this? And the thing about Latin women is when they go off, okay? She starts going off, talking about God, talking about this, calling me a loser like my father. And I'm like, Ma, the whole time she's going off, I'm like, Ma. Finally, she stops. I'm like, Ma, I don't know what you want me to do. I've submitted the seating chart already. It's fucking over. Now, what you gotta understand about my mother is when I get amped up, she likes to double down with passive aggressiveness. And she's like, hi, mijo, sorry, you know, my English is not so good, but, you know, to me, it sounds like you don't want your guests to have a good time. You ever talk to your mom and immediately just fucking hang up the phone? You're like, I can't take this shit anymore. I hang up the phone, I fucking lose it. I take the coffee table in front of me and flip it up. What you guys don't understand is that there is a glass on this coffee table and it goes 45 degrees and smokes my television set. Yeah, a lot of people come up to me like, hey bro, what's it like breaking your own TV? And I'm like, have you ever killed something that loved you unconditionally? Fast forward, we get to the wedding. At the ceremony, everybody starts to get on my fucking nerves. You have to understand, in the equation of my wife and I, she is way out of my league, okay? Like, so much so that if you would see us on the street together, you would be like, that guy easily has $3 million in his bank account, for sure. For sure. Like, some of you, if you would see us at the grocery store and I would walk into another aisle, some of you would go up to her and mouth the words, are you safe? Okay? And what pisses me off is everybody's coming up to me and they're like, oh my God, you are so lucky. Look at her. She is an angel. She is beautiful. You are a lucky, lucky man. Guys, are making bad jokes at my wedding at my expense. They're coming up to me, they're like, can I ask you a question, buddy? Are you a wizard, huh? Did you cast a spell on her? And I start getting pissed because everybody's coming up to me like I'm this fucking goblin king she found under the bridge, like I was eating garbage. And she was like, well, you know what? This is where I am in my life right now. And like, I didn't know shit before meeting her. Like she gave me a fork and a knife and she was like, that's for food. And I'm like, oh yes, thank you for teaching me to eat. Okay? And what pisses me off is not one person went up to her and said she was lucky. Nobody. People kept going up to my wife and were like, are you happy? Which we all know is a soft, are you sure? Fast forward, we get to dinner. I'm finally happy. I'm gonna eat now. This is what I've been waiting for. Food comes down, waiter puts the food in front of me. I'm about to eat it. My wife goes, don't eat. And I'm like, why? And she's like, don't eat. And I'm like, why? She's like, we need to get up right now and thank everybody. And I looked at her and I was like, how many fucking times are we gonna thank these people? At the ceremony, before you came, I thanked everybody. After the ceremony, we thanked everybody again. At the cocktail reception, before this fucking meal, we thanked everybody again. I'm like, do you think I can eat my $48,000 piece of steak in peace?